Hi everyone, my name is Marcus. I'm a junior doctor working in New Zealand. I recently graduated in 2020 and I'm starting my job as a junior doctor in January 2021. I'm also starting my YouTube channel, which is what you're looking at right now, and I hope to be able to build my YouTube journey as well as develop my skills as a junior doctor throughout the following year. Now, as we come to a close of 2020 and a new start of 2021, I'd like to share a few of the things that I have learned over the past year. In the past year, I was doing my training intern year, which is essentially the final year of medical school in New Zealand. Over this year, despite the pandemic and all the chaos that's raging on around the world, I think there are lots of valuable lessons in all of our lives, and I'd like to share 6 of them from my own life with you. I think one of the most important lessons from me in 2020 is to build genuine connections with people. In my line of work as a junior doctor, we talk with patients every day. We're working with other doctors, other health professionals, whether that's nurses or physios, and we're always engaging with patients and their families. And having that connection with each and every one we work with is really important. First of all, it makes our day so much more enjoyable when you're interacting with pleasant people. But secondly, you also build a network around you of people who can support you, so your colleagues and friends that will be there for you when things get tough. And this isn't just in the field of medicine. No matter what you do, you will be interacting with people. Something else that I've learned along the way from the books I've read and YouTube videos I watch is that whatever you want is in the hands of someone else. So if you want a new job, then that the employer has the power to give you that job. If you want to sell something to make money, then that something, the money, is in someone else's hands, and you need their help. You need to work together so that you have the best outcomes for both of you, and that comes down to building that connection with the person you're working with. And I think the best way to do this, to build those connections, is to be genuinely interested in other people's lives and express that as well, so being empathetic. The second thing that I learned, and it's related to the first, is to surround yourself with positive and motivated people. In my medical profession, I have the privilege of working alongside other really brilliant and talented doctors, nurses, consultants, and it's so amazing working alongside these people because their motivation keeps you motivated as well. And there's nothing bad about a bit of healthy competition to push each other forward. And I found that extremely valuable in this year, especially when I was applying for a rather competitive job, to work alongside a whole group of people who all want this job. Was really motivating because we can help each other out, give each other tips, work on interview preparation together, exam preparation together, and really push each other forward, and also learn from each other, learn from the work ethics that other people have, we learn from their knowledge, and kind of share all of that together. So being around positive and motivated people will help you. It definitely has helped me. Number 3 is to have genuine confidence. One of the assessments in medical school is a long case where we essentially take a history examination and then we have to present it to a very experienced senior consultant. Now, in these situations, it's often quite intimidating because you're expected to know all this knowledge and convey it, and not just convey it clearly, but also confidently, so that if you were to be telling this or sharing this information with a patient, they can be confident and trust your abilities as a doctor. Now, growing up, I've always been a bit more anxious, a bit more shy, and not quite as confident in my own abilities. But throughout this year, what I've learned is that to be confident, there are a number of ways. You can fake it till you make it. That's one way, but not necessarily the best way. But I think the better way is to actually know your stuff so well that you are confident. So you build that genuine confidence when we're going into that exam setting I mentioned earlier, to really know your content. That will give you confidence, and then also practicing that confidence. So that's kind of where that fake it till you make it kind of comes in, but I'm thinking more you practice conveying things confidently. And in the medical profession, that's really important. You want to maintain that trust your patient has within you, and you also want to convey to your superiors and people higher up in your hierarchy that you know your stuff and that they can trust you and put more responsibility onto you, because that's how you're going to learn and get better as a doctor. Now, number 4 is related to the previous thing about being confident, but this is to maintain humility. So there's a fine line between being confident and being arrogant, and I think that's something that I need to develop on as well. I've noticed that during that developing my confidence journey, sometimes I've leaned a bit too too much to one side and become overconfident or almost a bit arrogant, or maybe I don't feel like I'm being arrogant but have come across as being a bit arrogant. And I think that's something to be really careful of and to have that humility. So some of the most fantastic surgeons at the top of their field are the most humble, and they're the ones I respect the most because you can see them do these amazing things, but they're still so open-minded to learning new things and working with people who don't know very much. Me, for instance, and helping me develop my skills rather than just thinking they're so high and mighty and better than everyone else. And I really appreciate that. And I think that's a huge reminder for myself when I'm working with other colleagues and younger students to have that humility, to be able to learn more, learn from others, learn from not just my superiors, but learn from people I'm supposed to be teaching as well, because I believe there's value that everyone can give, and that is so important to have that humility so that you can listen, and makes you a more pleasant person to be around, a more pleasant person to work with. Number 5 is to be prepared. This year with COVID, everything has been so hectic. There's so many changes around the world. There's lockdowns, masks, financial repercussions, people losing jobs. And I think this has been a huge reminder for me to be prepared, whether that's financially, having some emergency money set aside so that if another lockdown were to occur, I'd have resources available. Health as well is something that you can be prepared about. So working out regularly, eating a healthy diet, these are all part of being prepared so that when things go on that you can't predict, you're healthy and you can maintain your positive mindset. You can maintain your physical health so that you can provide for your family and provide for those around you. Other things you can be prepared about is in your relationships with people, to maintain those connections. Once again, reiterating how important that connection with other people is, and fostering those connections so that you're able to help them out and they're able to help you out as well. Personally, this is something I'm still working on. I'm quite slack with Facebook messages and keeping in touch, that kind of things. I much prefer in-person contact, so something I'm working on is to try and be more present with the people I'm surrounding with, to have that genuine connection time, but also be able to keep in touch with people long distances, especially if they're people I can't see because I'm in a different city or I can't see them because of lockdown. Now, the 6th thing that I learned, and this is from talking to a whole lot of different consultants and doctors over the year, is that you can find your own path. For me, becoming a doctor and eventually becoming a consultant in hopefully some area of surgery, there's lots of different paths to get there. So I've met these neurosurgeons who've done all these masters and PhDs, or other doctors who changed specialties from a surgeon to a psychiatrist, or doing general practice or O&G and then changing to a different specialty altogether. And it made me realize that you actually have your whole life ahead of you. Life is long, and you can make the most of it. And you don't have to follow the set path that everyone follows. You don't have to just start, say, medical school, house officer years, registrar, go down to a training program, stick with that training program, and then come out as consultant the other side, and then be a consultant until you retire. No, you can get onto the training program, realize you don't like it, and change to do something else. There's options out there, and I think that's something I'm learning, that I can focus on what I'm doing now and work hard to get to where I want to be, but also not get stuck down on the outcome. I have to achieve this thing this way. There's so many different ways, and there's so many different things that we can do to help other people, to serve other people, and to really leave an impact. I will continue learning from these experiences myself, and maybe you found something of value in this video. If you did, I'd love you to hit the like button and subscribe to my channel. Looking forward to seeing you all in the next video.